I cover a wide variety of topics in my videos, and they're basically all centered around masculinity in some way, shape, or form. And in today's episode, I'm going to be discussing things I wish I knew as a man before I got married and had kids. First and foremost, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Let's get straight into it though. All right, so I got married at the age of 27. All right, my wife and I just recently made our 10-year wedding anniversary, so congratulations to us. And one thing that I realized that I wish I knew before we got married and had kids was the amount of freedom, the amount of free time that I had when I was single and before we had kids, okay? Now, I want to give a disclaimer right off the top here. I'm not saying that getting married or having kids is a bad thing or a burden or anything like that. I'm coming from the mindset of sharing my perspective as a married man now with 3 kids and 1 more kid on the way. So 4 kids. Okay, so that's the perspective that I'm coming from. I'm comparing the perspective of myself, a married man with 4 kids, okay, versus the perspective of a single man that may not be married yet, or maybe you are married, but you guys just haven't had kids yet, okay? So just wanted to clear that up. Now, the thing that I didn't realize when I was single, even before I became married, was just the amount of free time, the amount of things that I could have explored when it was just me, before my wife, you know. And it really reminds me of something that my dad used to tell me from time to time. You know, he would tell me, hey son, you know, this is when I was single, before I got married. He would come in my room and tell me from time to time, he'd say, son, you know, you should get out and, you know, you work hard, you know, there's nothing wrong with getting out and traveling, you know, even if you travel, you know, by yourself. And you see, my perspective back then as a young 20-something-year-old, right? My perspective on traveling by myself at the time, I guess you could say it was a bit immature, but I didn't really view it as that back then. But looking back at it in retrospect, I think that it would kind of fall into being immature a bit, okay? So he used to tell me that, and I would say, I don't know about that. I don't know about traveling by myself. That's kind of weird. You know, I need somebody to go with, family, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And then if I do get somebody to go with me, they have to save their money up too. We might not even end up going. You guys know how that whole spiel works out. So that was my reply to my dad pretty much each time that he would tell me that, okay? But looking back at it, I'm like, yo, and he used to tell me this too all the time. He'd say, son, he's like, one day, you know, you'll look back and you'll understand, you know, certain things that I've told you, certain things that you've seen me go through and things like that. And I always respected him 100% of the time. But it's just that at the age that I was, you know, in my young 20s, even in my teenage years, even before that, he was telling us a lot of things. He was a great father. Rest in peace to him. I miss him every day. But he was a great father, and he gave us a bunch of knowledge. And some of it I just didn't, because I wasn't in that mind frame, I guess you would say, I didn't all the way understand it yet. Okay? But now as a married man with kids, I totally understand the message that he was trying to deliver to me, because sometimes, and me and my wife discussed this from time to time. It's a very interesting topic to us, you know. Sometimes we just ponder like, oh man, if it was just me, what would I be doing? If it was just me and her, what would we be doing if we didn't have any kids yet, you know? And that's another thing that people used to tell us, you know, especially my brother. When me and my wife were married, it took us about 4 to 5 years before we had our first child, okay? So we were married for 4 or 5 years with no kids. And my dad would tell me, but more so my brother. He's like, okay, look, why you guys don't have kids? It's just you and your wife. You guys should travel, get out. And we did do some traveling, but just with my perspective now. And I think sometimes married men like myself, especially married men with kids, not all, but I think a lot, they don't have this perspective until way after the fact, okay? So what I'm saying is, okay, when it was just me and my wife, I'm looking back at it now, I'm like, yo, we could have did a lot more traveling. We could have went out a lot more, you know. And I was always kind of a homebody. growing up, I never was that type of person to really be all over the place. I wasn't super social or anything like that. But just looking back at it, I'm like, man, we could have went a lot of more places for way less money. And y'all know how that is, okay? Now just imagine you wanna go somewhere. I'm an NBA fan, especially the Chicago Bulls, right? So let's just say, for instance, like I live in the Chicagoland area, okay? Say, for instance, I want to go to a random NBA game. It's in Houston, Texas. I want to see the Houston Rockets play the Chicago Bulls, okay, in Houston, though. All right, I want to travel out there. I want to hop on a plane, get something to eat after the game, get a hotel, and then fly back the next day. If it was just me, and I chose the cheapest airline, Spirit, well, unfortunately, Spirit is not there anymore. Frontier or whatever the other places are called, Southwest. If I chose the cheapest airline, and it's just me, and this is just a hypothetical, you know, of course we know the prices fluctuate. It's 2026, you know, when I'm making this video here. But if I were to fly out to Houston from Chicago, very inexpensive, just me, okay, just myself, not my wife, not the kids, just myself. Fly out to Houston, go to the game. I don't gotta sit in the front. Sit me at the top. All the NBA arenas, if you guys don't know, if you sit at the top of the NBA arenas, you can still see just as fine. Okay, I've been to plenty of games at the United Center here in Chicago and set as far back as anybody could possibly sit, literally, and you can still see the game pretty well. Okay, so that's not a big deal either. I could just sit me anywhere for the lowest price, $30, $40, whatever. Okay, cool. Okay. Fly back the next morning, you know, get a basic hotel, you know, maybe rent a really just the cheapest rental car I can. And at the end of the day, not to make this too long, but at the end of the day, that's a couple $100, okay? Maybe $300 tops. Now I've flown to Houston, went to an NBA game, got something to eat afterwards, got a hotel, got a little car, flew back home the next day, 200 something, about $300, if that. That's just me. But see, I wasn't thinking like that before I got married. My goals when I got married, the things that I was interested in was just, okay, let me save up some money. Let me try to get the best job that I can get, so on and so forth. But looking back at it, I'm like, yo, I could have did so much more. I could have did way more. And I don't mean like spent way more money or be more wasteful or be more materialistic and things like that. But just being more outgoing, I guess you would say, traveling more, picking up certain hobbies, you know, like right now, every now and then I go to the gun range, okay? But of course, with a wife and kids, again, not that it's a bad thing, because it's not. I don't feel locked up. I don't feel like I'm in a cage being married or having kids. Some guys think like that. I don't subscribe to that. I've never thought like that a day in my life, being married and having kids, okay? I don't feel locked up. I don't feel like I'm containerized or I can't go anywhere and things like that. You know, what I'm saying is, just as a married man with kids, I'm not just gonna hop up and say, oh, see you later, I'm going to the gun range, see you later, I'm going this, you know. Yeah, of course you got to be respectful to what's going on in your household and be considerate and things like that, okay? So you just can't move. When I say freely, I don't mean in a way that I'm locked up or something, you know, if you guys get what I mean. So anyway, yeah, just picking up a lot of different hobbies. If it was just me, I would still just I would just pick up you know, some new hobbies, some new skills, because you don't realize how much time you have on your hands as a single man. You have a lot of time on your hands. And I had 2 jobs. I've had 2 jobs. I only work 1 job now. Okay, I'm 37 years old right now. I had 2 from the age of 18 to 25. I had 2 jobs. So for 7 straight years, I had 2 jobs. Okay, and I thought that was a lot, which it was to a certain extent. Okay, but with the perspective that I have now, that was not a lot. As a married man with kids and a full-time job now, no. 2 jobs, no. And I'm saying this from experience. That's just me. I can't speak for every man. But me as a single man back then, working 2 jobs, and it's just me, that is not a lot. And I was living with my parents. On top of that, wasn't paying no rent, no mortgage. I paid my parents' water bill. Okay, my dad wanted me to learn how to pay bills and things like that. So I paid the water bill. I paid my own cell phone bill, my car note. What else? What else did I pay? Gas, insurance, things like that. But I didn't pay any mortgage. I didn't pay any rent. Can you imagine that? Imagine your job right now. Imagine your job, even as a young 20-something-year-old, okay? Which many young 20-something-year-olds, they'll move out of their parents' house. They'll go be paying rent somewhere and things like that. But just imagine, you don't have any rent. You don't have any mortgage. You don't have any roommates or anything like that. You just paying just your car note, your gas for your fuel, your car insurance, your cell phone bill, getting something to eat, and you saving your money. Just imagine that. Now, of course, I realized that back then, but I'm telling you, like, my perspective now is just light years beyond that. If I could go back in time and visit my old self, I would have so much to say. I'd be like, look, dude, you need to be traveling more. You need to be saving even more money. You need to be learning some different skills. You need to be learning some different hobbies. Have some fun. All of those good things. That's what I would tell myself. And that's what I would tell any other man as well that's single. Like one of my homies, he's my age. He's 37. He's single. He's not dating anybody. Nobody's in the picture right now. It's just him. He's got a nice job. He's got his own place. I'm like, dude. So, and I kid you not. Now, I tell him the same thing that my pops and my brother and a couple other people too told me in the past. And I'm telling you, it's no knock on him. And I'm not saying he's wrong for it. It's just that it's a perspective thing. And sometimes you don't grasp it. You don't grasp it all the way until years later, and you like, dang, why I didn't do that? So I be telling him, I'm like, bro, look, you single. You ain't got you nowhere close to wifey right now. You know what I'm saying? You're not talking to nobody seriously right now. It's just you go to work. Okay, you got your own place. So I tell him, I say, bro, like, look, you know what I would be doing if that was me? And it may sound cliche to him, like, oh, he just saying that. But I really be trying to get through, like, bro, like, you can do a lot. And then guess what he tell me? And there's no knock on him, that's my guy. But guess what he tell me, though, when I tell him that? He's like, man, bro, I just ain't got the time. I'm like, what? Like, bro, you don't got... There's no girl in the picture, okay? Seriously, okay? As far as I'm aware of, all right? There's no girl in the picture. You don't have any kids, none. No kids whatsoever. Now, you work a full-time job, okay? You work overtime sometimes, all right? Okay, you got to do some things. You got to take home some of your work outside the office type stuff, all right? You got your own place. You got responsibilities. I'm like, bro, look, man, I'm just keeping it real with you, bro. That's not knocking you, not disrespecting your job and the hours that you put in. Because he went to school, he's got a master's degree, I think something beyond that. He's got a lot of education behind him. So I always tell him, like, look, bro, I'm respecting you, bro. But you telling me you ain't got no time? I'm like, nah, bro. Something ain't adding up, bro. Something ain't adding up. I mean, that's my guy, but I be keeping it real with him. Like, bro, like, look, if that was me, man, I'd be traveling. Not just wasting money, don't get me wrong. Like I say, look for the cheapest. Most of us guys, we simple. You know what I'm saying? But what happens is we start including our wife and our kids, and that's when things take on things become different. You know what I'm saying? You start to buy the insurance for your airline ticket. You start to buy the insurance for your rental car. You start to consider leg room. Like, oh, okay, my wife, she likes to have extra leg room. Stuff starts to get more expensive, and it's not a bad thing. It's not a knock on my wife or my kids, but it just comes with the territory, But that's why I be telling my guy, I'm like, bro, it's just you. For the most part, man, when we just by ourselves, we don't care. Just put us on the cheapest flight. All right, we'll pack something light. We don't need no big old suitcase, nothing like that. Just pack a little book bag, something, throw some shoes in there, some shirts, some pants. We good to go. Get us in a little halfway decent hotel. It don't got to be an expensive hotel for the night, or for a couple nights or whatever. Get the most basic rental car. Everywhere has restaurants. Let's just go eat. Let's just go eat some when I'm hungry. okay, and then fly back home. It's that simple, but once you start involving, your wife and your kids, now you got to consider, okay, does the hotel have a baby crib? Do they have all these other amenities for the kids? All this other, and like, again, I'm not stressing that. I'm not saying that those are bad things, because they're not. It comes with the territory, and naturally it shifts how much you spend and how you prepare, to take a trip or to do certain things. But when it's just us men by ourselves, I mean, y'all already know. For the most part, I think personally, I think like 90-something% of us, it's just super basic. Like, hey, just get me there, get some clothes, let me do my thing, and I'll be back. It's super simple. It's super easy. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, you guys, for the shaky screen. I'm on the expressway. I gotta work on this, man. I gotta get a better phone holder. But yeah, if it's just those are some of the things that I wish I knew, which I did know, but I didn't know because I didn't have a perspective yet. If that makes any sense, I'm trying to make sense here, you guys. But those are some of the things that I wish I knew before I got married and had kids as a man. Because, man, it's like, I just don't, like, when people tell me that they don't have, and I see, sometimes I see memes about this on Facebook, certain videos, people making fun of people who say they don't have time to do stuff and they don't have kids, they don't have a wife. And it's true. That is how we kind of look at y'all, And I don't know everything that's going on in people's lives. You may be taking care of a loved one that's bedridden or something like that. And, much respect to people who do things like that. But if you're not doing something like that, you working a regular job, even if you're working like 60, 70 hours a week, I'm still looking at you as a man like, bro, you got a lot of time on your hands, bro. Like, okay, you could be working 70, 80, 90, 100 hours a week. If it's just you, I promise you, I'm still, okay, I applaud you for working all them hours. You getting to it. You got great ambition. That's what's up. But I would still be looking at you like, bro, you got a lot of time on your hands, bro. You got a lot of time on your hands. You don't got to come home, get no kids a bath, talk to your wife and all those good things. And again, I got to keep giving this disclaimer. Not that that's a burden, because it's not. Some people knock marriage and things like that. I don't get that. If you're gonna knock marriage and not want to be about things like that, then marriage is just not for you then. But that's why I got married, because I don't mind that. I don't mind coming home, talking to my wife, seeing how her day has been, and just talking about random things, seeing how she's doing, playing around with the kids a bit, talking to them, being around them, cleaning them up and all that good stuff. I don't mind that. That's what I signed up for when I got married, and we talked about having kids. You know what I'm saying? So it comes with the territory. But guys who don't do that, and they say they don't have time, I don't get it, because I'm telling you, from my perspective, you got a whole bunch of time. You got a whole bunch of time on your hands. Even if you work in 2-3 jobs, like, in my opinion, you got a lot of time on your hands as a man if it's just you. Just you. You're the only person that you're responsible for. Now, I done gave all the disclaimers. I pay respect to everybody in their certain situations. Like I said, you may be taking care of a loved one, or somebody is bedridden and things like that. Okay, I respect that. That's an exception. But that's a lot of work. You're literally taking care of somebody day in and day out. Or maybe it's something similar. But if you just, that's not most men though. That's not most men. All right, but if you out here working, doing your thing, working a whole bunch of hours, trust me, you got a lot of time on your hands to go to the gym. You got a lot of time on your hands to pick up a new hobby, to learn a new skill, maybe even go to school or something. Take like a class or two, or a course or something like that. Work on your health, eat better, sleep better, especially sleep. Definitely with that. Once you start having kids, and your sleep is not as much, you can go to sleep and you can just, like, I'll put it like this, right? Like, okay, I'm headed home right now, right? Now, if it was just me, okay, or if it was just me and my wife, okay, I could go home right now, check in with my wife, like, and ask her how you doing, all those good things, okay? And be like, okay, I'm kind of tired. I'm gonna hop in the shower and I'm gonna go to sleep. She'll be like, oh, okay, all right. Well, what do you want to do after you wake up? It'll be just that simple, okay? And there's no knock on her because that's great. But because we have kids, I'm not about to just. Now she told me I could do this, but me as a man, sometimes I don't. That's not how. That's sometimes as a man, though, I don't want to just go home knowing that my wife is there with the kids, and then I'm just going home and going straight to sleep. Now I do respect my wife telling me like, Corey, look, you don't gotta always do that. You can come home and get you some rest. But I'm like, no, I don't know about that. And she pregnant right now too. My wife pregnant right now too. So like, what I look like coming home from work, taking a shower and going to sleep, and my wife at home with the kids and she pregnant. You know what I'm saying? See, you'll have some guys, and I don't know people's personal business and things like that. But you might have some guys, they hop on and they complain about their wife and kids and things like that. And it's like, bro, that's what you signed up for. You the one who picked her. It's not like she proposed to you. You know what I'm saying? Like you the one that married her. I'm assuming y'all talked about having kids, so it come with the territory. But anyway, like men, like just imagine that. Now imagine, before I lose my train of thought here. Now imagine okay. Even if I was just coming home to my wife right now, right, and we don't have any kids, I would still check in with her, but I'm gonna tell her like, okay, I'm about to go to sleep. But now, say if it was me, like you might be watching this video, right, and it's just you. You don't got no wife, you ain't got no girl, you ain't got no kids. You know what I'm saying? But your time is coming in the future, okay? But for right now, it's just you. You can do whatever you want. You can go to work as long as you want. You can work a triple shift, a quadruple shift. You could, whatever, it's just you. It's good that you're paying your bills and taking care of yourself and being responsible. But at the same time, don't take for granted as a single man, you can just get off work, whatever you're doing, you could just be like, all right, I'm headed home and I'm sleepy. As soon as I get home, I'm just hopping in the shower and going straight to sleep. You ain't gotta talk to nobody. You ain't gotta call nobody. You ain't gotta text nobody. You don't gotta check in with nobody. You just go straight home, park your car, open your door, eat you a snack or something, and go to sleep. That's all you gotta do. And I'm not even minimizing that or trying to sound like I'm belittling somebody or little broing somebody or whatever they call it nowadays. I'm just keeping it real. As a married man with 3 kids and a 4th one on the way. I'm just keeping it real, because my pops tried to get through to me. And like I say, I was totally listening to him 100%, respecting what he said. But it's just that I wasn't at that level yet where I could totally understand the perspective that he was coming from. But once I started seeing that, I remember telling my wife, like, yeah, we should have traveled more, you know what I'm saying? And she liked to get out more than I do. Like I say, I didn't mind being like a homebody. I was never really that, super social like that, you know what I'm saying? But just looking back at it now, I'm like, damn, we could have did. Well, I ain't gonna say we really could have, really my fault. But like, I looking back at it now, I'm like, I could have did a lot more. I could have took my wife on more trips. We could have just did more adventurous things, more fun things, spent more time together doing certain things. Because now, let me tell you the marriage and kids part of it now. Because now, I can't just tell my wife, like, okay, later on tonight, let's go to the movies. That's not happening because, well, not that easily at least, because, okay, first we got to consider the movie that we're going to see. We got young kids. We can't see something inappropriate, right? Like, at least that's how we move. We ain't going to watch nothing inappropriate with the kids, all right? So we'll have to get somebody to come watch the kids, all right? And then if it's too late, let me put it like this. We have to get somebody to watch the kids, all right? And then we have to see, okay, does it work for our family? How have the kids been? Are they sleepy? Have they been kind of like all over the place? Have they been really rowdy? Things like that. You have to evaluate those things. And then there's other things that go on. We're involved in our church. You know, my wife serves in ministry. I serve in the ministry as well. So it's like, it's just a lot of things that you have to balance. And again, I keep giving this disclaimer. These are not bad things. These are things that come with the territory. These are different responsibilities that naturally come with marriage and with having kids. So I would love to tell my wife, with the perspective I have now, hey, let's save up some money and take a trip. And it's like, yeah, we can do that, but then we still have to consider other bills that we have, the kids, our schedule with the kids, and then how much it's gonna cost. Again, it go back to that cost again. If it's just me, I can go a lot of places. If it's just me, that's gonna be fairly cheap, especially if I only go for like 1 or 2 days. But now imagine I wanna take my wife and kids somewhere for like 2 days. Okay, I'm not wealthy. I want to be. I hope I'm wealthy one day. I really do. But I don't have just thousands of dollars to be coughing up at any given time to just go on a random trip. You know what I'm saying? I don't have that. You know, so for me, yeah, I could do that. Or if I send or my wife want to go somewhere, like, you know, say she want to, I don't know, just do something or whatever. She's got a friend that lives in Texas, all right? So if she goes and visit her friend down in Texas, all right, let's get you on the flight. You know, you can stay at her house, or you can get a hotel, come back the next day, 2 days later. That's a very affordable trip, but it's just her. Now imagine me and her want to go. Like, oh, okay, all right, cool. I'm cool with your friend too. Like, we can go down there together, make a weekend of it, have somebody watch the kids. You see what I'm saying? Now we gotta have somebody watch the kids. Are they available? Are they available to watch the kids? Can they get off work or whatever? You know, it's a whole bunch of moving parts. Don't even mention if you want to bring the kids with us. Now you have to save up for like a year and a half, depending on where we're going. You know, especially if it's something like kid related, you gotta save up like a year and a half. You see what I'm saying? And when you single, again, let me say this: this is not a bad thing that I'm saying about saving up, you know, for your wife and kids. All right. Anyway, because people say so much bad things about marriage. That's why I keep saying this, you know, because people are entitled to say what they say. It's their opinion, it's their experiences and things like that. But with my experience with marriage, I wouldn't say that it's a terrible thing, a bad thing. I don't even want to come off like that. That's why I keep giving that disclaimer. But anyway, yeah, you know, so you as a single man, if you're watching this and you're single, it's just you, especially if you're not paying rent or mortgage, you can do so much. Even if you are paying a rent or a mortgage and it's just you, I'm telling you. Now, do this responsibly, of course, you know, but it's a lot that you can do. And it's not always involving money, you know, or flying places and going on trips or going to the mall, buying clothes and all that types of stuff. But just your time in general, it's very valuable. It's very, very valuable. All right. It really is. So that's my take on that. I feel like it's more that I can say about it, but I don't want to make this video too long. Feel free to chime in. Let me know what you guys think. My beard kind of out the game. I'm just getting off work. Bear with me, you guys. Man, beard out the game. Have to line that up. By the way, speaking of my beard, I've got a company. They sent me some free trimmers. Free trimmers. I'm gonna leave the link to their website on my in the description to my YouTube video here. All right, I cut my own hair. You know, you guys can see I'm obviously bald. I line my own beard up. I'm kind of a little scruffy right now coming off work, but if you guys are interested in getting those trimmers, they're only $30, but with my discount code, which can be found on the link on the description of this video here, you'll get 15% off. They're only 30 bucks. They're great trimmers. I've got videos on here with me of me using them. Okay, they're $30, but with my discount code, you'll save 15%. So check that out. Also, if you guys would like to support my channel, I'm trying to help my channel to grow. Feel free to support my Cash App. I'll leave a link to that as well if that's something that you would like to do. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I feel like I got a lot more to say about this subject. But like I say, I don't want to make this video too long. Maybe I'll make a part 2 or something. Let me know what you guys think about this. Feel free to chime in. Maybe you're watching this as a single man, or as a man that's married but doesn't have kids yet. Maybe you disagree. with something that I said, or maybe you agree, or maybe you have questions. Feel free to chime in, leave a comment. I will reply, as long as your comment is not super disrespectful or something like that. Sometimes people like to get on here and troll and all that, and and I got a sense of humor. I can laugh and things like that, but just don't be on some other stuff. All right, do what you do, but if I don't respond to your comment, you'll know why. So but for the most part, like 99% of the time, I reply to comments on here. So feel free to chime in.